If you think the mortgage market is A-okay, then you do not know the real numbers. Because nearly 2 million, or by the end of this year, it'll be 2 million mortgage payments went unpaid, and the homeowners are still living in the houses with the government and taxpayers making those payments for them. That's right. And really, there really isn't a report or a lot of headlines out there, folks, that are showing what's really happening with mortgage defaults in 2025. And it's shocking. And that's what we're covering today on The Housing Nerd. Good morning. My name is Jason Ferrier. I am a realtor. I'm an investor just outside of Columbus, Ohio. And we gather here frequently in the morning by the fire to talk about the housing market. Think of me as your no BS guide to what's really happening with the housing market. So let's get into it. And all this data, by the way, has been verified, and a lot of it has been provided to me by a guy by the name of John Comiskey. John is a mortgage expert, and I had a chance to interview him last week. And that interview, be on the lookout for that. That interview is coming out in the next few days. And I think you'll really enjoy and really find it informative what we talked about regarding mortgages and mortgage defaults. And he's got his finger on the pulse of this mortgage default problem we're going to talk about today. I'm going to preview it for you. So what are we really going through here? Well, during COVID, there were a massive amount of people that couldn't make their mortgage payments because they were basically, out of work, right? Makes sense. And so the government came in and allowed them to stay in their homes without making these payments. And then COVID ended, and guess what? They allowed them to continue to miss mortgage payments. So over the last 5 years, millions of payments went unpaid. And FHA, the government, basically made those payments for the borrower and put them at the back end of the loan in a 0% second loan. So you literally have millions of these payments, and we're talking billions of dollars, folks, billions of dollars, not millions, but billions. And by the way, if you come on this morning, hit the like button for me. I greatly appreciate it. It's staggering when I review these numbers. And so again, over the last 5 years, a lot of people did not make mortgage payments. And it wasn't like you had to, call in and say, please, I can't make my mortgage payment. Will you make it, will you help me out? No. All you do is just don't make a payment during the last 5 years. And the servicer, the actual bank that you got your loan from, maybe it was Quicken Loans or Rocket Mortgage or a local bank or whatever. If it was backed by the government was like, you know what? We're going to make that payment for you. They paid the servicer got a fee for servicing the loan. And the taxpayers, you and I, basically made those payments for the FHA borrowers. And this has continued and continued and continued. Some of these folks they went back to the till and missed payments 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, over and over and over again. Every time they would get behind, they would basically extend and pretend the loan again. Now, the numbers, though, again, they are shocking numbers. We're talking just this year alone, so far, January through October, $2.7 billion in missed payments that were made for the borrower on behalf of you and I, the taxpayer. In just October alone, it was $232 million. In just October alone, it was 30,000 different homeowners had their mortgage paid by FHA. So when you look at the FHA delinquency numbers and the defaults, what stands out is about 8 million mortgages are classified as FHA. And FHA borrowers are usually the people that need the most help, right? They're the ones that maybe put a low down payment down, maybe 3.5%, sometimes zero. They're also the ones that maybe have a lower credit score. And so they are the riskiest of loans. And so there's about 8 million of those loans. And this is important to know. This is really important. How many loans total do we have covered by or backed by the government, where the government is basically backing up the bank saying, if your client defaults, we've got your back? Well, total, that's about 40 million loans, with 8 million of those being FHA, leaving about 30 million loans as conventional loans. And those are usually the loans where people put 20% down. We'll get to that number in a minute on what's happening there. But with FHA, we've got a delinquency rate of 13 to 14% right now. So I've had some people on my channel comment, and I wanted to make sure you understand exactly what's happening with these numbers. It's not that there's 13 to 14% delinquency through all loans. It's just with the 8 million loans. That's where you're seeing the 8 million FHA loans. That's where you're seeing the 13 to 14% delinquency. But that is, quite frankly, enough to cause, to create a $2.7 billion backlog in missed payments. Now, here's the caveat to this. October 1st, all that extending and pretending theoretically ended. The current administration came in and moved up the deadline to end this program. Originally, this program was supposed to end during COVID. Then it was extended past COVID. Then it was extended another year. And before the previous administration left office, they extended it through 2026, I believe through February of 2026. But the new administration came in and said, no. We're going to end that in October of 2025. So in October of 2025, just October 1st, just about a month ago today, I guess, right? About a month ago? Yeah. No, 2 months ago today. They ended the program. And now a borrower who's in trouble, if they're FHA, if they can't make their mortgage payment, they still have recourse. They can, and they still have a way to extend the payment and have it put on the back end of the loan, but they can't do it 2, 3, 4, 5 times in a year. They can do it once every 24 months. And there's some other rules around it that John and I got into in our interview. Make sure you pay attention to that interview. Again, it'll come out here in a couple days on the Housing Nerd. But one thing you need to understand about this is that 30 million of the 40 million government-backed loans are conventional. That default rate is less than 2%. So you've got a block of borrowers, basically, the majority of mortgages, by the way, where the delinquency rate is very low. But there's a group of borrowers, FHA borrowers, that have a delinquency rate of 13 to 14%. So John Comiskey, mortgage expert, estimates that it's around 250 to 300,000 borrowers that are seriously delinquent and probably will go to foreclosure as this program finally winds down. Probably go to foreclosure. So that means that a lot of these properties, a lot of these homeowners could face foreclosure, and these houses will flow through to foreclosure as we go through 2026. And in my interview with John, he breaks down exactly when he thinks that foreclosure wave will start, how severe it'll be. So make sure you tune in for that. Now, the other thing to pay attention to here is that in 2008, during the great financial crisis, which was one of the worst housing crashes we've ever had, right? Nationally and in many areas, some areas, homes went down in value 30, 40, 50, 60% or more. And a lot of people want to compare what's happening now to 2008. And they say, hey, in 2008, we saw a bunch of foreclosures. We saw mortgage defaults. We're going to see the same thing now. It's going to be even worse. I've heard people on YouTube say it'll be even worse than 2008. Will it? Tell me what you think. And I'll get to your comments in a minute. But the truth is that there are major differences between 2008 and 2025. And some people don't want to hear that. Some people are like, no, you're just painting a rosy picture. You're a realtor, so you're, biased. I'm just reporting what the mortgage expert told me, and he's not a realtor. The brutal, hard truth, folks, hope you're sitting down for this, is that in 2008, and during that last crisis, a bunch of people defaulted. Fannie and Freddie Mac, basically the government-backed mortgage companies, were not government-owned. They weren't 100% government-backed. And so a lot of the servicers and banks that wrote those loans in 2008 went bankrupt, defaulted. And guess what? Other banks had to come in and bail them out. And then the government eventually figured out it was a big problem and rushed in and bailed the banks out, bailed out Fannie and Freddie. We all know that, right? Or you should know that. But now, Fannie and Freddie, FHA, VA loans, 85% of all mortgages, listen to this, 85% of all residential loans out there are backed by the United States government with the explicit guarantee that they got the back of the bank. Not your back, the back of the bank. The back of the bank. So that basically means that you and I all have already stepped in line, put our hand up and said, we will bail you out, Mr. Banker, if Johnny Homeowner can't pay. It's already happened. We've already bailed them out. We're bailing them out with this FHA program. You just don't know it. So if things get really bad and those other conventional loans, the 30 million loans that are conventional out of the 40 million loans out there, if things get bad, what do you think the government's going to do? They're going to bail out the banks. The banks won't lose, folks. You will lose. It's a fact. Now, you can't control this. You can't do anything about it. It's already been done. But you can be aware of it and expect the unexpected. So the idea that banks are going to go bankrupt because of the residential mortgage crash that's supposedly coming, or maybe here, according to a lot of people, well, who do you think is going to backstop them? Oh, the people that already have volunteered to do it. The United States government, the printing presses, the money printing presses, mom and pop. And it's undeniable. Just look at the data. 85%, according to John Comiskey and Melody Wright, because she also talks about this all the time. 85% of all residential loans backed by the United States government with the explicit guarantee. So the servicer and the bank, they're like, you know what? This guy defaults, we're good. And they will print more money, causing higher inflation. Higher for longer, folks. Higher for longer. That's where we are. Crazy situation. Now let's talk for a second about foreclosures. Those will rise over the next 12 months. You'll see a continual rise of those. How many will hit the market? I don't know, but I was surprised that John had highlighted just 250,000 to 300,000 that could hit the market. Last month, I think we had total, I want to say the entered foreclosure was 50,000, if my memory's right, 50,000. So if we had 300,000 hit the market, many of those would be purchased before they even hit foreclosure. A lot of people would buy them out of foreclosure, and some would hit the actual foreclosure market. And that's an opportunity, by the way, that you could take advantage of if you are serious and have been on the sideline. But the idea that the government's going to just let this crash, come on. You're fooling yourself if you think that. You're fooling yourself. Pay attention to what they do, not what they say. And if you pay attention to what they do, they've got that bucket ready. And again, you have already volunteered to bail them out. And they've been doing it now for years. Oh, and they did it before that too, right? with the auto loans, the farmers, the mortgage market. They did it in 2023 when interest rates spiked and Silicon Valley Bank had to get bailed out. A bunch of millionaires got bailed out from you and I, from mom and pop, because the bank didn't calculate their returns on their investments correctly. They didn't have the liquidity. Supposedly anything over $250,000, right, is not FDIC insured. Well, it certainly was that day, because the average deposit was over $1 million, I believe, the average account. So millionaires got bailed out. That was in 2023. So it's going to happen again if things get bad. Again, it's already happening. We don't have to wait. It's happening. So anyway, this interview I did with John Comiskey was like, wow. Like, he really showed me what's going on. I told him I could talk to him for hours because it was very enlightening, and I think you'll enjoy it. So check that out, coming out in a couple of days here. So he thinks foreclosures will ramp up, but he also said that it's not going to be millions and millions of foreclosures or millions and millions of defaults. And a good percentage of loans right now, mortgages, are low in default rates. That's the hard truth a lot of people don't want to admit. It's the FHA borrowers. They're the ones in default. About 13 to 14% default rate on 10 million of the 40 million loans. Anyway, hopefully I cleared it up. All right, let me look at a couple comments here. Good morning, everybody. Good to see you. Ready? Hey, John, thanks for jumping in early. Well, who's ready for snow next week? We getting snow next week? I'm not ready for it. Not that bad today. Sunny. Seems like it's about 40 degrees or so, 40, 42 degrees, something like that. The background is fire. Right. It is. It is. What's up, Kelly? Hey, everyone. I had to go back and watch 2X. Just wanted to say good morning, nerds. Hey, good morning to you. Thanks for jumping on, Kelly. After that interview, do you lean more towards one rental at a time or Melody right on future of the market? Oh, great question. That's a great question. I would say if I had an honest conversation with Melody, I would probably lean to both of them. But I think, for instance, Melody says 85% of all mortgages government backed, but she never tells the viewers what that means. What does that mean? Well, Michael said it in his interview. It means that the government's just going to extend and pretend. She doesn't want to tell people that because I don't think she likes it. But I think her knowledge around the mortgage market is fantastic. So I lean to both of them. I think Michael has a much more practical view of it because he's been through it and he knows what happened and he's willing to admit what will happen on the other side. I think Melody she's a very smart lady, but I think she paints a picture that is not 100%. Because she knows if she paints the picture 100%, people will be like, oh, so you're telling me they're just going to bail us out again. And I think she was scorned from when she worked at her company she worked with and spent a lot of time trying to fix the mortgage market and realized they're just asset holders at the top and they want that number to go up and they're going to do whatever they can do to get that number higher. So I think her knowledge is fantastic. I lean on both of them. I just got to kind of shift through some of the stuff that Melody says. Good morning, Evil Overlord. Let's see what else we got. I can't handle rental properties anymore. Working on getting them to the kids. Oh, okay. If you're in Central Ohio, give me a call. Maybe I'd be interested. But but if you want to sell them for top dollar, that's not me. Like, smash. Thank you. Yeah, hit the like button. I appreciate it. Oh, this is not sustainable. So time to learn about short sales. Yeah, it's not sustainable. It's not. I mean, but the underwater mortgages, Evil Overlord, are like, I think it's like 1.75% of all mortgages are underwater. Half of all mortgages are paid off, or half of all homes, that's like 40%. 40% of all homeowners do not have a mortgage. So they're not going to do a short sale, right? So there will be short sales, though. Everybody who purchased, a lot of people who purchased in the last couple of years, that's where you see the short sales. Except these families have nowhere to go, so they'll play the process as long as they can. Exactly, Kelly. Exactly. You don't think that, I mean, they will absolutely put another program like this in place. Like this extend and pretend if things get really rough. They will absolutely put this in place again. I don't care what administration it is. No administration wants to go to the American populace and say, listen, for the next 6 years, next 4 years, next whatever years, it's going to be the worst economy you've ever experienced. And if you own a home, you're probably going to lose half the value in your property. And if you have a job, you may lose it. But on the other side of that is prosperity. As long as the next person who comes in follows what I'm doing by letting you have pain. And I don't see that happening. They're going to stand up there and say, we're going to make things more affordable, yada, 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 blah, 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 blah. And we'll be in the same situation, except worse, just another zero on it, right? That's what I expect. Good morning. What's up, Barry? How you doing? Cool picture. I don't think I've ever seen you before. Nope, not this time. Mark my words. All right. I mean, we're already doing it, man. Slample. We're already doing it. Those are my notes, by the way, that I take in the morning before the live. I mean, we're already doing it. This FHA program is already in place. Like if you have an FHA loan today, even though the guardrails have been put on, you can call FHA today or call your servicer and get the extend and pretend today. It's not gone. They just tightened it up. Student loans are forgiven right now. John and I also talked about student loans. That was pretty shocking too. There's a lot of them still in forgiveness right now. So I don't know. I mean, aren't we going to bail out the farmers right now because of tariffs? Aren't we? I think the auto market is in line for a bailout. I think the property tax thing could be a bailout. 105,000 people in Cuyahoga County alone here in Ohio are delinquent on their property taxes. 105,000 in one city. Maybe that's the next bailout, or property taxes. Could be. Could be. AI, they're already asking for a bailout. Get the buckets. Time to bail. FDIC insured. Who pays this? We do. Exactly. Exactly. It's a Cantillon effect, right? Money is going to flow to the top people. The bottom people ain't going to get it. Just how it is. Working class is used every day and paid dearly. Get ready for buying frenzy. Yeah, I mean, actually, I found a clip of Trump. I'm going to try to pull it again because I found it. This is last year. I tried to find a clip of Trump of what he would say about the housing crash. Like, has he ever commented on the crash in 2008? And his comment was basically like, yeah, that's when stuff goes on sale. Like, hey, man, it's on sale, as Christine's pointing out. Last time, what happened? The government bailed out the banks. Who stepped in and bought all the properties? Investors. The government gave them an insane term. They were able to come in and buy properties, thousands of properties, tens of thousands of properties at pennies on the dollar with insane loans from the government. That's how the whole institutional landlord thing started. That's how it all started. The government basically begged them to buy the properties. And that's the other thing that I think that Michael, by the way, that question earlier somebody gave me, Michael and Melody, were the two differences there. And they're kind of more similar than anything, honestly. They probably sat together and had a beer together. They'd probably, I don't know if Melody or Michael drink, but regardless, I think they would have more similarities than differences. And they both said that the investors came in and purchased not all, but a lot of properties when we had a crash last time because they were so cheap. After this live, I'm going to show a client a potential foreclosure. They're out there. They're out there. And I just wonder how many people said last time, I'm going to keep waiting to buy because the bottom's not here yet, or it's going to get a lot worse. And then it just was bad, and then it got better, and now they're like, oh, when it gets bad, I'm going to buy. It's like, hey, your time's coming. Get ready, like Christine's saying. Anyway, good job. Do you think with this new data indicates a serious price drop? No. I think that it will slowly bleed into the system. Meaning, like, It's not going to happen everywhere all at once, obviously, right? Foreclosures take a long time. In fact, the delinquency numbers, according to John, or I'm sorry, the foreclosure numbers are not showing yet that these extend and pretend programs are ending. That's going to take some time. I think he was thinking it's going to be next year at some point before we start seeing more. But he doesn't think it's going to be a massive amount all at once. So it'll be some here and there. So instead of getting 10 in a month, maybe in an area, maybe you get 15 in a month. And by the way, appraisers, generally speaking, don't use foreclosures for comps because it's distress, but it will bring down values in a neighborhood. I think it depends on where you have more FHA borrowers. If you have more in your neighborhood, probably more price decline. But I don't think the new data is going to show any more price drops or any difference than what we're already seeing. At least not right now. Valuable information. Thank you. Wake him up, Jason. What's up, John? Up early out there in La La Land. Not La La Land. Las Vegas. Sorry. I think Trump admin will let it crash just enough to be affordable since that is how they get reelected. Well, I don't know. It depends on how bad the pain gets. John does think that the administration will let all these student loan borrowers, FHA borrowers go to foreclosure. They should. Foreclosures are like a natural part of the process, by the way. I'm not saying they should extend them. Foreclosures are a natural part of the process that you have to have. It's like part of the healthy process. It's like yin and yang, good versus evil. You got to have it. So I think they will. I think they'll let more foreclosures come through. I think if it gets really bad, though, like if there's a massive amount of job loss throughout the U.S. and we have another COVID or something, heaven forbid, well, I would think they're going to do a moratorium on foreclosures again. Because I think the current administration, I think Trump was in office when that started, right? Is that right? I think he was when the forbearance started, because it happened like right when COVID hit. VA loans have a higher than average default rate currently too. Yeah, they do. And they're on their own extend and pretend program. That's something completely different. They're similar characteristics. Basically a similar moratorium against foreclosures and whatnot. They had released them early in last year, I think, and then they put another program in place to extend them further. It's like a hose, right? That's the best analogy. That's probably, who came up with that analogy? I think it was Zuber came up with it. He said, it's just a hose and you've got it kinked right now. And there's just a bunch of pressure building behind the fire hose. And then when you release it, a bunch of stuff's going to come out at the beginning, and then it'll be a steady supply, hopefully. That's what we need. Need that distress to balance out the market. They need foreclose on people and let the brokers fail. And let brokers fail. Brokers. I'm not sure brokers fail. You mean like bank brokers or something? Yeah, I mean, I think the people that don't make their mortgage payments should go through the foreclosure process, right? Is that what you're saying? Good morning, Mr. Mortgage Nerd. How are you? Good to see you. I enjoy your analysis. Let's grab lunch sometime. What's up, Jason? Newark guy, right? You're in Newark? Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to. Go check out that chicken place over in Newark, right? Isn't there? It's like a new chicken takeover place or something. Maybe check that out. Guy drives a Lambo. I think the owner drives a Lamborghini. Anyway, I always see it over there. Where's the incentive to do the right thing? No incentive to pay your bills and be responsible. Rates still suck. Responsible rates still suck. And be responsible rates still suck. Yeah, that's a cool picture, by the way, Forerunners. Yeah, I mean, one has to wonder, right? Like, there's something to be said, I suppose, for the fact that there is not an incentive to do the right thing with payments, but in a lot of cases. I mean, it's not like it was during COVID, and this program has ended for the most part. So if you don't make your mortgage payment, it will go on your credit. That will happen. So that's not good for you. But there is an incentive like it used to be. Like, hey, you're going to get a knock on the door and get foreclosed on tomorrow. Right? That's not happening anymore. It's like, well, we'll extend this again. We'll extend this again. And think about this. You've got a bunch of servicers. Remember, the government's not the one dealing with the borrower. It's the servicer. It's the person that originated the loan. They call them non-banks, right? There's a big talk, by the way, about non-banks going bankrupt. They're in trouble. Wrong. They're not the ones backing up these mortgages. The government backs them up. The non-banks, Rocket Mortgage comes to mind as a big one. They'll be like, you didn't make your payment. Hey, Uncle Sam, give me my money. And they do. The government backstops them. So that's one of the massive differences between now and 2008. Going to be a major job loss to AI in the next 5 to 8 years, Jason Angus says. Well, yeah, it's I'm really curious about this topic because a lot of people also say that AI is overhyped, right? So you've got a camp of people. I'm kind of watching two camps emerge, right? Maybe three camps. One, the AI is like the best thing since sliced bread. One camp says, like Jason, AI will replace a lot of workers and there'll be job loss, which I can't disagree with because that's, anytime you automate something, you're going to have people that aren't needed, right, for employment. But then I think you have another camp of people that are saying AI is overhyped and it's all kabuki theater and it's really not real. Like in other words, it's nobody's actually using it. So I'm like, okay, well, if nobody's actually using AI and that's fake, well, then we shouldn't have a lot of job loss, right? I don't know, but I would think it's natural progression of technology, right? So we could definitely see that. VA and FHA, highest failure rate. 2 government programs. Yep. Who would have thought get government out of loans? Right, Madus. Yep. Yeah, I mean, anytime the government gets involved, you're going to have problems, right? Eventually. Right? What's the worst thing to hear? I'm the government. I'm here to help. I mean, it's, they're going to step in. I mean, they own 10%. They own 10% of Intel, right? They took a 10% stake in Intel. I know that AI is OpenAI, Sam Altman, right? They've already asked for a bailout of the government, from the government. I heard Melody Wright say she thinks the reason why Warren Buffett bought D.R. Horton home builder stock is because the government is going to bail out the home builders. Warren Buffett knows this, so he's going to buy now because their stock will go through the roof when the government steps in and buys some of D.R. Horton and owns some of them or buys a bunch of their inventory. I don't know. That seems like you're putting a lot of pieces together how you want it to fit, but it could happen. I don't put anything past them on bailouts. Nothing. And the people that say they won't bail them out, I'm like, well, they continue to do it. Every administration since I've been an adult has done it anyway. So why wouldn't they continue? What would stop them? Again, I want a candidate to stand up there and tell us we've messed up for the last 40 years on the housing market. We need to restore affordability. This is how we're going to do it. And by the way, it's going to be the worst 4 years of economic pain you've ever seen. Prepare now. Go ahead and vote for me. I don't think anybody would vote for him. Sensible people probably would, but there aren't a lot of those folks out there. So I think at the end of the day, there's just going to continue the charade until who knows what, right? Who knows what happens? But they'll kick that can until they don't have a leg left. Last slump, banks would finance the real estate owned properties and give them money for repairs. Last turn down. Just have to wait and see. Banks don't want the houses. They want to write loans. Exactly. Christine is exactly right. Banks do not want these properties. They are a nightmare. They don't have anybody to deal with the properties. They have to hire people to go out and take care of them, shut off the water. They got to make sure the house isn't vandalized. They don't want to deal with these houses. They want to write loans. They'll just get rid of them and whatever they can do. By the way, if you're somebody who's waiting on the sidelines to buy a foreclosure or a short sale, you need to make friends with realtors. You're going to have to be nice to them now because a lot of realtors will list these bank-owned foreclosure properties. And so the more relationships you make with people in your area that handle these type of things, the better you'll be positioned when those deals do come. Got to be nice to realtors at that point. That's something that may be difficult for some people, but you don't have to use a realtor necessarily, but you'll have to contact one if they have it listed. My VA loan is huge for me. Mortgage insurance is a scam for responsible borrowers who leverage capital elsewhere. I agree. Yep. Yeah, they ruin it for the rest of us, right? By the way, thank you for your service. Thank you, Forerunners. Really appreciate it, honestly. You sacrifice in ways people like me can only talk about. AI isn't accurate yet. I put an appraisal into paid GPT and asked it to analyze it, and it showed some miscomps to properties that didn't exist or sales data that was like 10 to 15 years stale. Something, I agree, mortgage nerd, Steve. Something has happened. I don't know if it's in the last week or so, but I use AI I use ChatGPT like constantly for things, but I'm always checking the data. And yeah, you're right. It can get really wrong. In the last 5 days, it's been wrong many times. Wrong about stupid things too. Like I asked it about NFL football rules yesterday in overtime, and it gave me the wrong data. So you just got to be careful. Got to check. That's what I'm saying. Like, I guess if they don't care about accuracy, all this misinformation can replace workers. Hopefully not. Hopefully not. What do I got here? AI presented those stale sales as current sales comps. It's wild. Right. Yeah, they'll go back in time and grab stuff. And you're like, what? And if you don't ask it, it won't tell you. It won't tell you. I also don't like how it doesn't tell you if you're wrong. It's like, yeah, good job, Jason. I'm like, huh? Is that right? No, actually, after further investigation, it's not correct. Oh, well, just tell me that. Be honest with me, computer. It's like a it's like a nice HAL 2000. I'm sorry. HAL 9000. My bad. It's like a nice HAL 9000 from 2001. That thing would definitely tell you if you were wrong. AI can't replace and contend with human creativity. Yeah, there's some professions I don't know that'll be removed because of, well, I can't say what'll happen in the future, but right now, yeah, a lot of professions I don't think will be touched because it requires human creativity and human intuition, right? There's nuance there that AI can't replace. AI is almost topped out in learning from building large language models. AI is gathering over 40% of its information from new large language models from Reddit. What? From Reddit? Oh my goodness. Really? Is that true? That's crazy. Great side job. Go into banks and start a house cleaning business and repair business on repos. I know someone that became a millionaire from 2007 through 2010 in Phoenix area by doing this. It's a good idea, Stuntfish. Yeah, there's all kinds of opportunity with that. All kinds. From flipping houses to buying rental properties to doing what Stuntfish said to being a realtor. Like, here's the thing that I think is counterintuitive to the market being down. Like prices dropping. As prices drop, as home prices drop, because they're dropping in what? I think last time I looked, the Redfin data said 18 out of the top 50 metros had a year-over-year price decline. As those prices drop, I think sales will rise, the number of transactions. That's how real estate agents get paid. So if you were ever thinking about being an agent or a realtor, now's not a bad time to start moving in that direction. Because if you can make it now, while things are slow still, as prices come down, sales will ramp up and you'll have a lot more opportunity. It's counterintuitive, but a lower price and an unfrozen market would actually help realtors. The market we've had over the last couple of years has been difficult on realtors. So a lot of people are like, when prices drop, realtors will be crushed. And I'm like, no, when prices drop, realtors will pop the champagne because they will close a lot more deals. Completely counter to what most people think, right? Most people are like, prices down, realtors are going to die. No, not true. We are treading on living on the real minority report. We are treading on living in the real minority report. Yeah, with Tom Cruise. right? Where he's touching the screens. Wouldn't that be a sweet thing to have on the live? Yeah, you're right. It's like the Matrix, right? Or the Skynet, however you want to look at it. But make no mistake, I think we will see more foreclosures. I think it's sad that we've already bailed these people out. I think it's sad we'll continue to bail them out. Yeah, $2.7 billion this year alone. So far this year, that's only through October. $2.7 billion. And $232 million in October alone. Some of these people never made a mortgage payment. Like I know John had talked to me about some folks that bought houses, went on extend and pretend immediately, and never made a mortgage payment. Now, all that loan and those dollars go to the backside of their loan, but it's at 0% interest. So it's not like it's going to ruin them, right? They have to pay it off when they sell or when they refinance, but a 0% loan over 30 years, that's a pretty good deal. And then they could take that money and do something else with it, right? They would have invested it. Maybe they invested in AI. Maybe they bought another property. I don't know. Who knows? Yeah, instant access to data. I agree. That's probably one of the things that's like the big switch in my brain is data is available anytime, any day. You don't have to wait on some type of report. It's like always there, as long as it's correct, I guess. Okay, so that video with John Comiskey will be out in the next couple days. You should definitely check it out. I've got another interview about buying a house with Bitcoin. I interviewed somebody who did that. Well, they tried to do it, and they did it in a roundabout way. So that video, anyway, that video is coming out. You think you'll enjoy that interview too. Oh, what's up, Coors Light? The economic tea leaves I'll be reading in 2026 include what is happening with Trump's effort to start bringing corporate investment back to the U.S. Huh? Yeah. Maybe you will. I don't know. I'm not an expert in that area. Maybe you are, but that's in your tea leaves, huh? If he's successful, then it'll be positive for the housing market. If nothing pans out, then we'll need to extend and pretend with a declining economy. I hope his administration succeeds. Yeah, I want the economy to do well. I want people to do well. I do. I think that there's a natural cycle, though, Coors Light. I think there's a natural cycle of economic pain, right? And without that cycle, without you allowing that cycle to come around and actually go through it, I think you're just making the problem much, much worse. I don't want to see a housing crash just for people not losing their homes. I don't want to see that. But at the same time, I think it's healthy to go through those corrections. It just is. But I don't think people who run the country want it to happen, and will do whatever they have to do to keep it from happening. Because remember, after 4 years from now, or 3 years or 2 years, whatever, we're not gonna have to worry about it, right? Those people leave, and it's somebody else's problem to deal with. You go back to your billions, and life's good. So, they've got a very short memory, I think, or horizon. Michael, you're welcome. Thank you for joining. I really appreciate it. Ma Deuce, what's up? Those loans are going bad because Doge decided to fire everyone that was previously a service member that worked for the federal government. They didn't fire everybody, right? I mean, they did fire some people. Well, they fired everybody. Be real, what's up? When tens of thousands of former service members get handed a pink slip, they cannot pay their VA loan. I agree. And it's a tough situation. That VA loan, man, that is so tough, because part of my brain says, man, these people sacrificed everything for our country so we could even have a housing market. So to me, they're the first ones that should get help. But at some point, if you extend and pretend forever with folks that can't pay their mortgages, even if they're VA loans, that's just not healthy for future borrowers who are trying to get a loan, right? The VA loan program, if you don't already know, is, if you're watching this and you don't know about the VA loan program, and you qualify for it. It has some of the best terms you can possibly get for a mortgage. So look into it. And it's a great program to help and, I don't know, reward those that gave the ultimate sacrifice. Right? The problem with corrections is that private equity is alive and well to help corrections aftermath. Yeah. And again, someone asked me this earlier. That's one of the big things about Mike Zuber and Melody Wright. Why somebody asked me, hey, what are you leaning more towards Melody now after reviewing this mortgage data? And I'm like, well, no, I respect her opinion. I respect her knowledge. But what you just pointed out is exactly right. Private equity is alive and well. And I wish she would just admit that to her fans, to her viewers. Like when she goes on these different YouTube channels, I wish she would say, BlackRock, Blackstone, Black Knight, whoever you want to say, Invitation Homes, American Homes for Rent. Oh, by the way, small landlords, large landlords, middle-sized landlords, a lot of them have a lot of cash and they're ready to buy when things get low enough. They will probably step in and buy a good amount of this distressed property, these distressed properties. I wish she would just say that because she knows that's the case. She saw it happen before. Why would it change now? I mean, Invitation Homes is the largest landlord, the largest single-family landlord in the U.S. They are net buyers this year, not net sellers, net buyers. They're buying new homes directly from home builders that are dropping the price enough where the investor goes, bah, that one works, I'll take it. Right? So we should pin your comment and leave it up there at the top of my YouTube channel. I don't think I can do that, but if I could, I would, and say, right here, he called it out. It's going to happen. Private equity is going to step in. In what form or fashion? I don't know. Will it be like last time? Probably not. But I can tell you one thing. If there were houses around me that were discounted, they'll get to a point at which I will buy them as an investment. I will. I mean, I'd be out there selling my plasma to put a down payment down to buy it. So I think the cat's out of the bag that real estate can be a great investment, especially if you buy it at the bottom or in a discount. And the government has no plans that I know of getting private equity or large corporations out of real estate or out of single family homes. I mean, none of that's actually real, right? We're still allowing that to happen, expect it to happen. And you guys will be competing with each other if you're all waiting on lower prices, right? That's how it is. You don't get an organic reset. Exactly. You don't. Nope. No organic reset. No great reset. No end of Fight Club, right? When they burn 3 buildings down or blow up 3 buildings and they're like, hey, now the financial system's going to reset. No. It's all good. We got everything backed up. And if not, we'll just make it up. Tens of thousands of people. Right. They had a job. They were unceremoniously let go for political reasons. I think some of it was. It's sad. It's going to crash out hard. We're in an everything bubble. It's not just real estate. Yeah, it could. They may have to get in big buckets. Thanks for joining us, John PX4. Yeah, they're going to have to get a big pail. Not a pail like they did last time, like a handheld pail. They're going to have to get like a big bucket to bail us out next time. I think it's inevitable. And if it doesn't happen and they don't bail us out, great. Fine. That's good. So it's almost like I'll plan for the worst and hope for the best. All assets are overvalued. Well, they continue to go up, right? Higher for longer. Overall. But a natural correction is normal and probably needed at this point, right? Not only in the stock market, but in the AI Mag 7 stock market, which is basically the stock market, and certainly the real estate market. It needs a period of like cleansing. It just needs that. I'd be fine if interest rates stayed where they are for the next 3 years and the market went sideways. just 0% growth for the next, conceivable few years to let wages catch up. I'd be fine with that. But, it may go down. We appreciate you, Jason. You're having good conversations on your channel, man. Oh, I be real, seriously, man. That means a lot. I appreciate y'all spending time with me today. What time is it? It is 50:52. We've been on for 50:52. Still, cash is king. Rentals are a cash flow if you run right. Seems like everything is in on it. The housing, property tax, insurance costs, high cost of repairs and utility costs, driving people to rent. Yeah. Well, right. And then driving landlords to go, what am I doing? Like Kelly Kuba, she just said it a couple minutes ago. She had to leave, but she said she's selling all of her rentals. I think that was her. I don't blame them. Like, you have to buy them right. Which makes it better, I think, because it's not so easy anymore. I mean, it was easy for a few years, but now where property taxes are and insurance and rents are, like here in Ohio, you better know what you're doing to buy a rental. But if you do buy it right, it's a great asset. But I mean, even me, there are days where I scratch my head and go, what am I doing here? Like, what's happening here? Because it's like, you look at the numbers, and a tenant leaves who, just for no other reason than just anger, I suppose, they leave in the middle of the night and your place is wrecked and it's $6,500 to fix. And you're like, oh, well, you have to fix it because you got to put a new person in to keep, the revenue coming in. So you got to fix it. You're forced to. You got to come up with $6,500. So it's that's just one example. But you all who own rentals know what I'm talking about. I'm just complaining. But then there are months where I'm like, wow, that was a great month. It's really good I have these. The tax advantages are nice too. Just sold 2 rentals in my area. Experiencing rural healthcare facilities closing and layoffs. Huh. I wonder where that is. Tell me where that is. Like, what state? I'm just curious. Is it Ohio? Oh, how is your dog doing? Thank you for asking. She's great. She had some, we'll just say, rear end problems. And so we got those taken care of, and she's fine. Thank you. Thank you. Insurance is the key. Yeah, insurance is no joke. It continues to go up, it feels like. What's up, Kyle? Thanks for dropping by. I have a truly insane story I've heard from my closing lawyer. He said during my closing last week that 3 different influencers bought multi-million-dollar homes with nothing down. Franklin, Tennessee. Franklin, Tennessee, huh? I know where that is. I've been there many times. Some of the biggest houses I've seen in my life and nicest houses are in Franklin, Tennessee. At least that's what I saw. I have a cousin through my wife's side of the family that plays for the Page Patriots. If you know who that is, you may, Kyle. I don't know. But they're like an insane high school football team. And he's an insane linebacker who plays for him. So I've gone down there a few times to check out some of his games. And the houses down there are ridiculous. I couldn't believe how nice and big they were. They put things like, people are in Columbus and Dublin here locally. Dublin is like a high-end area of central Ohio. It's nothing like those homes down there. Those homes are ridiculous. I'd love to know, though, are you saying they bought with nothing down? You're saying like 100% loan? And influencers, like YouTube influencers or what? Northern Illinois rural, that's where you live. Ah, interesting. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, because I invest in smaller towns. That's kind of my thing. I don't invest in Columbus. So I'm interested to hear more about that maybe. This is why Tennessee is now unaffordable for regular Tennesseans. They make $20 or less on average. Yeah. Tennessee continues to move along. That hasn't crashed, at least not the data I've seen. There are definitely price declines, but Nashville continues to move along. Huh. Well, good information. All right. I'm going to end this. Thank you for watching this morning. Thanks for joining me. I'm leaving to go on a small trip for Thanksgiving. By the way, happy Thanksgiving. And I've got some videos planned that'll come out. I may do a live while I'm out there, but I would plan on my plan is every Monday and Friday, you'll see a live from me on my my Housing Nerd National channel. And then what I'll do is I'm going to do lives, obviously, on my Ohio channel as well. I haven't worked out that schedule exactly, but people have been asking me, hey, can you do these at the same time every week? I'm going to try. So Monday morning, Friday morning. Friday will be a data discussion on the housing market with new updated info that Redfin gives us, where we dissect different zip codes in different areas. And Monday will just kind of be like a fireside chat like this. I may squeeze in some during the week live, depending on how that week's going. But that's my plan. But plan on Monday and Friday at least on the national channel. Anyway, thanks for joining me. Have a good day. Happy Thanksgiving if I don't talk to you then. I'm the Housing Nerd, and I am out. OUT out.